Hello and welcome to the Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast. We are your hosts, Eric Sturgeon.
And I'm Russell Sorry.
This podcast is about all things Wisconsin, history, music, and culture.
While drinking a few brews.
Though we don't often use strong language, the jokes and the content is not intended for young audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Before we begin the episode, we have to give a huge shout out to the Dangets from Madison, Wisconsin, for providing us with great bluegrass intro you hear at the beginning of every episode. The song Razzle was written by Jamie Lampkins, but is performed on behalf of Tom Wasselchuk and the Dangets. If you have a chance, check these guys out at dang-its.com for upcoming shows, music, or on how to book them for weddings, parties, and etc. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, welcome back. This is episode 9 of Wisconsin Drunken History. I am Eric.
And I am Russ.
Today's main story is the world's largest music festival, Summerfest. We have another edition of How Many Loco You At, music from Wisconsin's own Telethon, and another great beer review. We are also featuring a brand new segment that we are calling This Day in Wisco History. So let's crack open an ice cold brewski and let's jump right in.
Hell yeah.
All right, so our main segment today, our main story, is the Summerfest. Obviously, it's it's deemed the world's largest music festival. That was according to the Guinness Book of World Records, I believe, in 2009. So we'll go ahead and give you kind of the whole background story of this thing. So since 1898, when Wisconsin celebrated its 50th anniversary of statehood, Milwaukee has played host to a number of different summer festivals. From 1933 to 1941, Milwaukee's lakefront was the site of Midsummer Festival, which had parades, it had carnival rides, different contests, and regattas. So a lot of things dealing with our lake culture right there on the lakefront. In the late 50s, city officials began talks of some sort of a new summer celebration. But it wasn't until the early 60s when plans really started to take off. Henry Meyer, then mayor of Milwaukee, eagerly latched on to this idea and even went to Munich's Oktoberfest to research or just have a few brews.
Honestly, though, I've always wanted to go to the Oktoberfest in Germany. I think that'd be like the thing to do
That's
in my life.
That's the thing, right?
I know, right?
I mean, lacrosse, obviously, it's a close rival.
9 bars on a block.
Right. It's not bad though. But so yeah, I mean, he went to Munich's Oktoberfest and he was getting ideas. So the Milwaukee World Festival Committee members included the likes of Vince Lombardi,
legend,
the Schlitz president Robert Uihlein, Pabst president James Wyndham, and Ben Marcus of Marcus Theaters. The committee originally proposed a 10-day festival in which events would span from polka to jazz music, folk traditions to film, sculpture and flower shows, and even a series of lectures by noted intellectuals. So really running the entire gambit of things that you could possibly expect in almost like a World's Fair.
Yeah, actually the Marcus family's really nice. I worked at Grand Geneva in Lake
Geneva, which is a
Marcus hotel, so I actually had a chance to meet them. I was a busboy or a bellboy, and I parked their car, and they were like really great people, and yeah.
Yeah. So in 1966, the committee suggested the name Julispaß, which means July fun in German. But the name didn't last long. The name was deemed to be a little too specific to a single ethnic group. However, shortly after, the name Summerfest actually won out. And in November, the board settled on a 9-day slate of entertainment that would take place the following summer. The first Summerfest, as we know it now, opened on July 20th of 1968, and it was a huge success. There was polka music, an international auto race, a soccer game, a women's conference. The National Ballet of Mexico performed. There was a 2-night Music Under the Stars concert, and there was an air show. Events were held at 35 locations around the city, all over the Milwaukee area. So not only the lakefront as we kind of know it today, but the entire city was basically host to this summer festival. The following summer was significantly larger. It had even bigger turnout, more events, more shows. They still had the air show at the General Mitchell Airfield. They had the polka music, which remained a huge spotlight. The legendary comedian Bob Hope, he even headlined an event.
Oh yeah, Bob Hope. We all know him.
He did a lot of the stuff with the Troops back then.
Yeah.
Became really, really huge, really famous, and then he also had a show, some sort of a sitcom, I guess, if you will, that was really popular. So, in 1970, an abandoned strip of land near the lakefront became available, and it became the home of Summerfest, and would later eventually be named the Henry Meyer Festival Park. The Harbor Commission, which was the one who purchased the land from the Army, constructed a deal and began leasing the site to Summerfest for $1 a year.
It's a pretty decent price. I'd rent
Decent?
it out for that, yeah.
I've rented apartments that are worse than that property for
Madison.
way more.
Madison, like the apartment I had was more than my farm mortgage, which has 10 acres.
You got it.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
It is.
That's what's nuts. So, obviously, they constructed this deal for $1 a year. It was clearly intended to be sort of a hand-me-out, to this incredible festival that was going to bring hundreds of thousands of people. So, between the 70s and 80s, vast improvements were made to the property. Dirt walkways were paved, and plywood stages that were on cinder blocks became more permanent structures with sponsors like Miller Brewing, Schlitz, and Pabst. In 1987, the Marcus Amphitheater, which is a 23,000-seat arena, officially opened and became the main headline stage for the most popular acts that we were drawing in.
Yeah, I've been there. I know you've been there. I've seen Rush. I've seen Blink-182. I've seen like a variety of music there.
Yeah, and it's insane the amount of variety that they get to headline that stage. I mean, in more recent years, you have your pop acts and your rap and hip hop acts, but back in the 70s and 80s, really in the 80s when that was built, it played host to your really large rock and country acts. Was like the main thing that was there. Nobody else really got on that stage unless you were a really large music performer. None of the comedians or anything that were there got a chance at that stage. It was really just the music. So during the 1990s and the 2000s, stages saw new names after Old Style and Pabst breweries became obsolete or closed. And visitors saw new sponsors like Briggs & Stratton, Harley Davidson, and Johnson Controls, which also helped contribute to new construction and renovation of state-of-the-art venues to include video screens, improved audio equipment. So these things were just really boosted to bring in this new clientele and to feature this much better equipment, so these shows would sound so much better.
Yeah, and like these shows we've been to these pavilions. They're still named this. And really, there's headliners, but all these stages have a headliner, technically. And a lot of people don't realize that, but each stage has a headliner. It's not...
Yeah, so each night, the schedule will feature a 10 o'clock headliner. So your 10 o'clock show that runs from 10 until about midnight on the schedule will always feature, that's their headliner. And there's, acts like, who is it? Third Eye Blind, OAR. Those guys always will do a Summerfest side stage headlining act, which is awesome. So in 2012, a new 5,000 seat covered stage was added. So designed with the beautiful views of Lake Michigan and the Milwaukee City skyline right in the background, the BMO Harris Pavilion became another elite stage to headline these multiple premium acts that we get every year. Like the Marcus Amphitheater, the BMO Harris Pavilion even hosts concerts outside of Summerfest. So it's not just, between those 9 or 10 days that Summerfest takes up. It's generally this concert venue that we sort of take advantage of all year round. Obviously, it's outside, so we don't, outside of like the warm months, you don't see it. But all the way up until like October, they can take advantage of this beautiful arena, this smaller seat venue that allows us to bring in even more acts. So, you got your different venues around the city of Milwaukee, like the Rave, the Eagles Ballroom, the Pabst, what is it? The Pabst Blue Ribbon, and then also like the
Pabst Theater, you got Turner
Pabst
Hall.
Theater, Turner Hall.
Yeah.
All of those ones, maybe if they're booked, you have this additional place to hold these events, which is awesome. I mean, it brings in so much more money and events for all of us to really take advantage of. So in 2018, though, the American Family Insurance became the naming rights sponsor for the amphitheater. So it's no longer Marcus. It now dons the name American Family Insurance Amphitheater, which is currently undergoing a 2-phase renovation and expansion project that will add a whole new seating bowl, expanded concourses, new video screens, and even more concession areas, which if you've been there, you know that the concourses are quite tight. There's not really a whole lot of area for the concessions. So if you're a lawn seat type of person, you have to haul all the way up to the back corner of each corner of the whole seating area in the grass, and they have these little like beer pavilions set up. If you're down on the main seating level in the covered areas, you have to walk all the way out to those concourse areas, and there's only about 1 or 2 different beer sections that sell. So you can be there for probably anywhere from, a quick 5-minute run to 30 minutes waiting in line for, brats, hot dogs, nachos, beers, sodas, water, anything. And it takes quite a while. And you as the, the concert goer, you don't want to be away from the action that long. The bands don't stop for you to go. So, you're sort of, I guess at a downside when you're trying to go back and, refill that whole time.
Right, and I know you're going to get into some notable acts, but what's one that really sticks out to you? I knew for me, it was like Death Cab, Bon Iver. There's just been a lot of great bands I've seen there. Pat Benatar. I mean, I like classic rock, so that was really great. What about for you?
Yeah, so I saw John Mayer there. I loved his show. This was like this was his opening concert for that tour right here in Milwaukee. So first one back, and this was right after he had all the vocal surgery, and he wasn't able to even talk. So I know he was dating Katy Perry at the time, and so he moved down to some rural property on a farm in Montana, and he would text her and do FaceTime and hold up signs and stuff in order to even communicate with her. But it really helped him to improve, his vocal quality because he had such a bad issue with some diseases on his vocal cords. And so that was a really huge show. And then all the Blink-182 shows that took place during Summerfest all the way back to 2001. Their Take Off Your Pants and Jacket tour was huge for me in July at Summerfest. And then all of the side stage shows of OAR and Third Eye Blind, they play nearly every year. And it's always that 10 o'clock to midnight show. And you'd be waiting there at the seats at the stage all day, just getting baked in the sun and holding your spot. You'd run out for beers or run to the bathroom or something. But by that 10 o'clock spot, you were just loving it. I saw Alice Cooper there.
Oh yeah,
I
I've seen him there.
oh yeah, and he was
He
so good.
was so good.
You thought you were in the 70s watching him.
Dude, the guillotine, his daughter coming on stage, just the anaconda or whatever freaking snake he had. He's just a cool guy. Like,
I have a couple of videos on my old YouTube, my personal YouTube, of Taking Back Sunday on a side stage, Paramore on a side stage. We had one of my favorites was my first show ever at the BMO Harris Pavilion was Jimmy Eat World. And
nice.
We were within five seats or 5 rows of the main stage, and just getting a chance to see those guys that close with the beautiful skyline and the lake right behind you, it was phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. But like I said, the notable Summerfest acts and performances over the years, it's really tough to beat George Carlin's 1972 performance of 7 words you can never say on television, the one that got him arrested for violating obscenity laws. The charges were later dropped, but the news had already helped make Summerfest at that time world news.
Me and George Carlin, I love the guy. Honestly, like you can't find a realer comedian anymore because people just don't want to say that kind of stuff because they will get arrested or like put in the jail.
Yeah.
He's just a great guy. I mean, my little guy, Eric, loves Sunny Time Station, which he's on, which is weird for him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you see his stand-up, and it's like just bizarre to see him on a Thomas the Tank Engine
totally different
show.
world.
Yeah, right. But I love the guy. I mean, everything he says, like I have quotes that I like write down because I love the guy so much. George Carlin and me, if there was somebody I could bring back from the dead, George Carlin would be one of those guys for sure.
Yeah, definitely a legendary comedian. And for us to basically be on the map Summerfest wise in 72 because of this really rare thing that happened, being arrested for obscenity laws, and we posted a picture of it on our Instagram and on Facebook, so check that out. You've got Milwaukee's finest hauling George Carlin out for violating obscenity laws. But so the acts over the years that have sort of put us on the map, we've got Dolly Parton, Sly and the Family Stone, The Doors, Steve Miller Band, Johnny Cash, The Beach Boys, The Band, Willie Nelson, Grateful Dead, one of my absolute all-time favorites, Kenny Loggins and Messina, George Thorogood, Santana, Eric Clapton, Huey Lewis and the News, Bryan Adams, The Go-Go's, In Excess, Paul Simon. You've got Sting, Rod Stewart, Cher, Whitney Houston, Metallica, Bon Jovi, Pearl Jam, Dave Matthews Band comes year after year, Britney Spears even, and Destiny's Child, 9 Inch Nails, Kenny Chesney, Prince.
Prince is awesome.
The absolute legend.
Minnesota legend.
Dude, we went to his Paisley Park just a few years ago. It is a phenomenal thing. The museum is amazing. His ashes are right in the lobby, and real doves are in there.
I mean, no matter what genre of music you really, truly love, Prince is a legend to anyone, in my opinion.
He has to be. He has to be on your list of artists that you've at least got a few songs that you know and love by this guy. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Steely Dan, Stevie Wonder, Peter Gabriel. You've got Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga, Florida Georgia Line, the Rolling Stones, Red Hot Chili Peppers, not to be confused with the Red Hot Chili Pipers, who play often. They're a bagpipe band that every single time I see the schedule come out and I see the Red Hot Chili Pipers, I'm like, oh, dude, they're on a side stage this year? That's awesome. And then all of a sudden you get there and you're like, oh, damn it. I got fooled again. Blink-182, like we mentioned before, these guys have all headlined the main stage over this really long and storied history of what we get to call Summerfest here in Milwaukee, which is amazing. Other bands, like we've said, hundreds and thousands of other bands have been on side stages. These are local and global artists, and they perform every single year at this festival. So it's absolutely amazing that we as Wisconsinites get to call this thing home for us. And obviously, so 2020, this will be the first time in over 100 years that the Milwaukee Summer Festival of sorts is not happening.
It's sad. I mean, this COVID thing has been a nightmare for everyone.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like a lot of things we normally do are just not able to do right now. And I guess I'm going to have to just stick to these streaming concerts for now until eventually things kind of clear up.
And even Summerfest is doing a thing, on YouTube and on other streaming platforms called Summerfest from home. So you can log in and stream different concerts that allow you to sort of Summerfest right in your own home and listen to this stuff. They encourage you to film it and post it to their social medias in order to basically say, hey, we know that this is that first summer in forever that we won't have this, but let's still somehow come together and make this something to remember. We don't want this to be the forgotten Summerfest year where we don't get a chance to hear music and enjoy that live lakefront beers and dancing and party. We would rather this be something that we allow to be safe and comforting and still enjoy and participate and celebrate.
Right. I mean, you can still have a bride at home and, have a couple beers and you don't have to worry about driving, which is kind of nice.
Which is very nice.
I mean, it's a benefit. And like I got to tell everyone, if you haven't heard of Eau Claire's Bon Iver, oh my God, you got to check this guy out. Like, he has a Summerfest concert that was recorded probably 3 years ago. He's a lot of great songs, which are like Wisconsin-based songs. Like, I really highly recommend it. Obviously, his famous song was Skinny Love. It's like his most famous song, but check it out. It's really good. I've been listening to that quite a bit to get me through the work hours.
And now the Bon Iver, the lead singer and main musician in it, that's Justin. I can't remember his last name now, but it's escaping me. But he came to Alpine Valley a couple years ago and was featured with the Dead and Company. So the new Grateful Dead kind of revivance band, that John Mayer and O'Teal Burbridge, they're all part of this thing. He came in and sat in on a couple of acoustic songs in the middle of their set, and they did Black Muddy River, which is one of my all-time favorite Dead songs, and that performance was phenomenal. And so this guy, Justin, he is really great. I mean, he's not just this indie rock artist. He has a really great reach, even within some of the more popular and historic acts. And it's definitely something to check out his work because he is really, really good.
Yeah, and, I'm not going to get into religion here, but one of my favorite things that somebody said about him is it's right off of God's playlist. Like, the music's beautiful. I really love the song Holocene, which is about it was actually recorded at Gooseberry Falls in Minnesota, which is a beautiful place to visit for anybody looking for a place to vacation or whatever. And yeah, I love Bon Iver. I mean, he's one of my favorites. Eau Claire's finest. I recommend everyone checking that out.
All right. We now have another version of the Wisconsin local music segment. Speaking of bands that have played at Summerfest, this band has been there at least once, maybe even a couple times. I'm not exactly sure. But these guys are another group that we get a chance to call friends. We have been in different bands with some of the members here. I know, Russ, you were with Alex Mylink on a couple times.
Yep.
In a couple different bands, and just absolutely amazing guys, all of them. Every single one of them have amazing personalities, and they're all musically so talented. I love seeing these guys live because, like with, like the Grateful Dead, let's say, they have amazing music that they can record, but you really don't get to capture that whole essence and that whole, the whole thing in a studio. When you're at live and you get to see the real thing, it's amazing. And these guys all have such genuine musical talent and great personalities that I love going and seeing them at different places here in Milwaukee. The band that we're talking about is Telethon. We are talking about a band that originally formed in the Delavan, Wisconsin area, which is really close to where Russ and I hail from.
Yep.
Elkhorn. These guys, so it's Kevin, Alex, Eric, Nathan, and Jack. They all, like I said, are like the upper echelon of musical talent in the Wisconsin area right now. I mean, they've been featured on bands that you need to keep an eye on. They've been featured on different news segments within the state of Wisconsin, within the city of Milwaukee. They're just really, really great. I mean, and they did a rock opera, The Grand Spontanean. If you get a chance, check that album out. You can find all that stuff on Spotify if you subscribe there. You can find it on the Apple Music. Their Bandcamp is telethonband.bandcamp.com. They have a few videos out on YouTube. The albums, I think, are even found there. They're absolutely amazing.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit about their influence? Because I kind of get like a little hint of like Thin Lizzy, maybe a little hard rock in there with a little like, kind of pop punky.
Absolutely. And then Motion City Soundtrack with that awesome synth. It cuts through and it's just amazing. It adds on the butter on the top of that steak and you just sear it in. It's amazing. It's absolutely phenomenal. You get probably tastes of Bare Naked Ladies, different pop punk influences as well. As 80s, rock, 80s hair bands. You've got Jack, who just absolutely rips up solos on the guitar. Just phenomenal stuff. I'm honestly just really happy that I know these guys personally, that I can say I could probably message any one of them right now and see what they're doing. But their music is just, it gets me through the day. I mean, it's just phenomenal.
Awesome.
So without further ado, we have Telethon, You Don't Inspire Me Like You Used to.
Sweating buckets, sureness of breath, jobs at Cuba, living niche, I gotta scratch sensations, post-vacation, craving novel, stimulation, no one asked or knows they should. Worst part is knowing if you ask them then they would. But your head down and you're nodding, tell your reflection that it's stalling. Always a chance that the plane's going down and you won't get where you're going. But all that daytime TV's been telling you is spending years no use validating rumors. You don't inspire me like you used to. You don't inspire me like you used to. And I feel inside up for any of this. Well, you don't inspire me like you used to do. Don't inspire me like you used to do. Take more time out to note all the victories. Yeah, but document you moving to the beach. Don't mean actually on the beach, but somewhere there's ocean, at least nearby. What a life that could be. The envy of my former colleagues. Pictures of sunsets from branches of palm trees. Highways apart on the side of the RV I live in. What's the limit? Fleeting at best, do it fleeted away. Floor of the ashtray by the end of the day. Way home, lost the key to the lock on my lockbox. Round and elbow straight through a plate glass window. You don't inspire me like you used to. You don't inspire me like you used to. And I didn't sign up for any of this. Well, you don't inspire me like you used to do. Don't inspire me like you used to do. Don't inspire me like you used to do.
Never wonder how the story breaks down. The story's up to you. Never wonder how nor why you break down. It's all a part of you. Never wonder how the story breaks down. The story
All right, everyone. That again was Telethon. You don't inspire me like you used to. Remember to check them out on all of the different streaming platforms, YouTube, Bandcamp, Apple, Spotify, whatever you got. We now have another edition of How Many Loco You At? This is where we read a Wisconsin news article about a potentially drunk and high pedestrian and discuss, well, how many Four Locos they consumed. Russ, can you give us a little bit of a mathematical reminder of what this equals?
Yeah, so if you have a half can of Loco, obviously it's a 2 Loco, full can 4 Loco, 2 cans 8 Loco. It's pretty simple math, 2, 4, 6, 8.
Yeah.
You got this. I mean, but we have a pretty exciting one today.
I will say. So basically, a Lake Geneva man is facing up to 15 years in prison after being arrested on suspicion of his
10th, which is the
number 10,
the decade,
the decade
DUI,
goer,
the DUI.
So this would be a number 10 for this guy. Almost makes a dozen. So the potential and suspect here was arrested on June 10th, just recently here, after a police officer reported seeing him weave through traffic just around 8 p.m. 8 p.m. people.
He started early, man. He's a noon drinker, dude. He's an early morning riser.
That is an incredible feat to reach. You're weaving in traffic, and it's not even dark out.
And how old did you say this man was?
I think he's like 59.
So, yeah, he's like almost at retirement age. Why would you even risk it at this point? But whatever. I mean,
it's nuts.
All right.
According to a criminal complaint issued by the Walworth County District Attorney, this suspect had told the police that he had only drunk 1 beer before his arrest. Now, those are his words. Drunk just 1 beer before my arrest here. He refused, however, to take any sort of a sobriety test, a field sobriety test, do any sort of a breathalyzer or anything. So we're not entirely sure at that moment when he was weaving in and out of traffic of what his BAC really was.
Right.
So a police officer from the town of Sharon had reported seeing this man weave in and out of traffic on County Road K, then reported that the driver smelled like alcohol, had blurry eyes, and he was slurring his speech.
That's like me every day.
I mean, those are all the symptoms, right?
Yeah.
The prosecutors say that this individual had included, his record included drunk driving convictions not once, but twice in 1989. Again in 92, 93, 94. That's
back
the
to
triple.
back.
And he also had received some convictions in 98, 2002, 2004, and 2010. Bring it home on the decade anniversary of his last one on 2020. So the court records show he's due in court June 18th for his initial appearance on these latest charges. If convicted for a 10th, he could be sentenced to a maximum penalty of 15 years in prison, and he could face a $50,000 fine. That is not cheap. 15 years when you're already 60 years old. You're looking at getting out of prison when you are, I don't know, just near dead. And you also are now $50,000 in the hole.
Right. So in this case, so he said he only had 1 drink, right? So a 1 drink in Wisconsin is probably about 3 drinks. So in this case,
at least.
So in this case, I'm guessing a 12 Loco, because 1 is 3 in Wisconsin. When you say, "Oh, I'm going out with my coworkers for 1 beer," that's 3 drinks. So I'm guessing a 12 Loco.
So 3 cans?
3 cans. And dude, he said he's not going to let him do it. So he knows he's fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I'm going to let you know right now that I definitely agree. This man is
12 can.
He's at least
12 Loco.
At a 12 Loco. He's 3 cans deep. It's an intense idea that he was only weaving through traffic.
Yeah, like they make.
I mean, he's an experienced. He's definitely a seasoned drinker at the ripe age of 59 years old, going on 10 OWIs. I'm thinking 12 seems fitting. He's definitely got the tolerance. 12's not going to put him night, but he could be singing, bar songs.
I love the term weaving because it makes it sound so like not that bad. Like when you think of weaving, like baskets, right? Somebody's weaving baskets.
A nice crochet club.
This guy's fucked. It's like a zigzag.
I would imagine he's going ditch to ditch.
Yeah, right. He's done.
He's tipping the old Michelin tire into a couple different fog lines here.
You're going
good.
You're going yellow white. You're going over the line. Like you may be maybe 50% in the ditch at some point, but this guy's messed up. If he got pulled over, yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this isn't a good situation to be in. As always, please don't be our next segment. Don't drink and drive. That's absolutely stupid. We don't want to be reading your story on this segment. Unfortunately, we continue to do this because it is such a routine thing, it seems like. It's a habitual thing for Wisconsin drivers to think that they can get behind the wheel after chugging brews all day, and that's just not the case. Don't do it.
Let's be honest, like just find somebody that'll take care of you, like your girlfriend or wife. They're not going to be happy with you, but it's honestly better than killing somebody or getting that DUI, especially this guy number 10, Like just call that person. They're not going to be happy with you. You might be 2-3 days in a doghouse, like maybe sleeping outside, but really 2 or 3 days in a doghouse is better than $50,000 fine and the rest of your life in prison. So
right.
let's be honest here.
You got to be smart and just the facing of 15 years in prison when you're 60 years old. Just I can't imagine how his family feels, but even more so, just all of us as Wisconsin drivers, even in this area, just this guy, how he has a license anymore. I thought at one point you just get your license revoked forever. I mean, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
All right. We now have a interview with Haus.
Yeah, we got Phil from the Haus, actually in Verona, Wisconsin, and they're actually moving. We just talked to him to Fitchburg, Wisconsin, so tune in. Here it is. So we are here with Phil from the Haus in Verona, Wisconsin. Phil, can you tell us a little bit about any events coming up, any new brews you guys got, any new deals or whatever?
Yeah, unfortunately right now on the event side, it is nothing really because of all the Dane County health rules. So normally we would have a trivia, which is actually like packs the house, like Tuesday night trivia, which we've had to kind of put on hold for a while now. And then normally we have live music pretty much, I would say, once a week. But those events have all been kind of put on a hold temporarily just because of the health rules from Dane County. So that's unfortunate. But we do have, so in the Verona location, we've got our full parking lot that we shut down back in, I guess maybe June, was it? Yeah, last month. And we have tables and chairs out there, so we've got a huge outdoor patio. So the city was pretty nice and worked with us and let us do outdoor seating. So we've got capacity of I think it's like 16 or 18 tables out there.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's definitely a nice bonus. And days like today where it's not super hot, it's a nice day to sit out there and just kind of hang out outside.
That'd be perfect.
Right. Yeah. So that's been awesome. And then we're working on a new facility over in Fitchburg. So we're about, I'd say 4 to 6 weeks from opening that up. So that's a big undertaking currently. So that new spot's got, a big production facility, canning line, and then restaurant, event space, rooftop patio, and then an outdoor patio as well. That I don't know. I think total capacity is probably like 450.
Awesome.
Great.
Yeah, so that has been we've been working on that for a couple of years, obviously, but yeah, it's finally coming together now. So that building was a brand new build. It's like a year ago, it was just a cornfield. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see it go up, and we're about 2 weeks out from doing our first brews there.
Wow, really?
Yeah, so that there's many layers of applications and approvals, like from federal government to the state Department of Revenue to the city. So we have to have all those licenses in place. But yeah, I think the first beer we're doing is Hidden Stash because our distributor's almost out. So we'll put that in our canning line. And we've got a couple things planned. I know we're going to package our hazy IPA, which has been probably our top seller in the tap room for the last 2 years. So that is on the schedule. And then we've got a couple other, so we call it our recreational chemistry series. That is just big hot bombs. So we'll do some of that stuff that we package in 4 packs of 16 ounces. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun.
Yeah, actually, we're sitting here right now drinking the Hidden Stash.
Yeah.
Actually.
There you go. See, and that's it's a good beer, all mosaic, and so that's a good one that we've done for a while, and I think it's the first one we're going to run on our canning line.
Awesome. The introductory beer. So
Right.
on the heavy hoppers, what ABV is that going to hit at? Is that going to be something above 10, or is it going to sit kind of in that 8-9 range?
Yeah, I think we'll probably keep it 7.5, 8-ish, something
Okay.
like that. Yeah, so double. I don't know. I guess borderline of whether it's a double IPA, not double IPA, but yeah, we'll do.
Sure.
All the kids like the hazy beers these days.
Hazy's the popular, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how we do a lot of homebrew. It's kind of like how ours would turn out a little hazy because we didn't have a way to clean it up, but it actually was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Even just in our brewing technique now from a couple years ago. I mean, now we're literally, I will put in a hazy, we'll do a bunch of hops in the whirlpool, and then I'll start hopping 2 days into fermentation. So we're talking, active fermentation going on, and we're just dry hopping. So we'll do 3 different dry hop additions, 2 during fermentation, and then we'll wait till it's all done, and then dry hop, traditional dry hop. But it's just kind of crazy once you get, you're adding hops way earlier than I ever would.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like it would be a hop forward beer.
Right. Do you guys ever use that Conan yeast? That I don't know. I guess that's what I always call it. It's the New England style. That's what I always use for our hazies, and it's great because you can also, obviously, if you put hops in there during fermentation, they're going to be in the yeast when you take them out to repitch it. So it does pretty well as long as you're sticking with that same style.
Yeah, we've definitely done that. Right now, I live on an old farm. I used to live in Janesville, so we had a little more control over our temperature in the basement. It's been a little harder now, so I have to use different yeast for the temperature range that I get down there.
Right.
But yeah, we have used that one in the past. I think actually the bike peddler that we created was kind of like that. It was pretty tasty.
Nice. Yeah, there are. There's a bunch. I know a couple guys that are doing all of the Norwegian strains, and they ferment 90. So you can leave it in your garage. Not garage maybe, but if it's if it's hot, they'll ferment out in 4 days.
Yeah.
We've done a delirium tremens type beer in my garage, which is a hot temperature yeast.
Yep.
Sure.
And that worked out pretty good. It ended up getting a little sour because I think some natural yeast got in there, but it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, so after that, we have the segment of how Wisconsin you are. Would you be willing to answer a few questions?
Sure.
All right. So have you ever chopped down a large tree by yourself?
No, I have not.
You have not. That's okay.
Yeah.
I live on a farm, so I have room to drop. A lot of people live in the city, so they've never had a chance to do something like that. So
Yeah, I've never done a large one by myself, but I have cut down a few trees.
I was I've helped trim some trees, but I'm a chainsaw. I don't know, man. It's something I've operated.
yeah,
They're dangerous.
yeah.
Right? I'm gonna steer clear of that.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a squeaky Wisconsin cheese curd?
Oh, of course, man. Come on.
I know.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yesterday, probably.
Yeah, that's same here. We just went to Decatur and got some.
Yeah.
I was gonna say farmers market on the square, man. You can get
Those ones
fresh
are-
squeakies on Saturday morning.
And those ones I bet are really, really squeaky.
Right.
Do you make beer brats? And if you do, what beer do you usually use?
It's funny. I'll use whatever old beers in my fridge.
Yep.
Whatever expired beer, and we just boil it away.
That's the answer.
Right.
The skunkiest, the better. It actually adds more flavor if you have an old skunky one.
Right.
Have you ever wore a flannel to work? Obviously, you're a brewer. I'm sure it's happened, but
Oh, that is I think my closet is in the winter. That's all that's in there as far as shirts.
80% flannel.
Yeah, it's the official.
Look,
It's a brewer. I don't have a beard though, so I'm not full on brewer certified. I don't have a full beard.
so you're basically the Al Borland out there
Yeah, man.
without
That's
the
right.
beard.
Right.
Do you know what a cow chip is?
Yes.
Yeah, those are pretty tasty. Sour cream and onion, and then cow chip.
I have not thrown one now.
Yeah, those competitions are pretty crazy though.
Right.
Phil, when you got started, did you participate in any little local brewing competitions?
Yeah, we did. So I started brewing at home. Then we moved out to Denver, and then we came back to Wisconsin. So when I got back here, I think I would do a couple of different ones. Like I think Grumpy Troll had one out there, or like it was associated with Grumpy Troll in Mount Horeb, and the homebrew shop always had some down on Monroe Street.
Yeah, I think. So you mentioned you were out in Denver. Did you make your way to Fort Collins?
Oh, dude, so we would go there every single time we had out-of-town friends. Like, we'd go up there and do the New Belgium tour, and honestly, I've probably done it 20 times, and it was always different. It was awesome.
Have you slid down the slide?
Yeah, you got to do that.
Oh, yeah, I barely fit.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't go down. I'm a much larger gentleman than my co-host here, Russell. So, but that one and Odell are. I mean, they're a must. If you're into breweries, if you enjoy beer making at all, just sights to see for sure.
We haven't been out there in like 10 years. Like there's like Fort Collins brewing companies there, and like a ton of other ones that have sprung up. Yeah, it's awesome out there.
There's probably, I think, somewhere between like 20 and 30 breweries right within like probably 20 or 30 square miles.
They got that little small segment down there.
They're amazing.
Section of the town.
That's probably one of those areas. If you're into brewing, or if you're a beer snob and you enjoy craft beers, that's one of those areas to check out. Wisconsin's obviously pretty unrivaled as well. We have just a massive amount of craft brewing. But now you mentioned Grumpy Troll too. That's pretty awesome.
Mount Horeb.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Old classic out there.
Yeah.
All right, the next question I got for you: have you ever drove a snowmobile to a bar?
No, I have not actually.
It's more of like an up north, like hillbilly thing. I've done it a few times.
On that one though, have you ever ridden a snowmobile?
Honestly, it's funny. I don't think I have. I don't.
They're not something that you generally get on. Four-wheeler's one of the. I mean, everybody's pretty much ridden a four-wheeler, but
at some point, yeah.
Snowmobiles are a little bit less likely that you would, without owning one.
Right. I was actually young enough to ride on when they had three-wheelers, which were super unsafe, which is why they don't
Absolutely. You go over the handlebars on one of those babies.
I remember, you gun it and you're going off, and then you got a two-wheeler going on, so that's not good.
Classic.
All right, next question. Do you know what a bubbler is?
Of course.
Okay.
We would be, we used to get made fun of when we were out in like California, and they're like, "Where's your bubbler?" I'm like, what do you mean? You're like, where the water comes out? Like, oh, right, we call it a drinking fountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same
out
thing.
there, a bubbler is a bidet.
Right. Yeah.
Where's your drinking fountain?
Different device.
That's my toilet.
All right, next question. Have you ever been to a party in a cornfield or at least on a farm?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we're from small towns. Are you regular?
You drink around the milkers.
Right.
And I have one more question before we let you go today. Have you ever had a Wisconsin brandy old fashioned?
Indeed, I have. However, I'm probably gonna let down your guests, and I always make it with Southern Comfort. I know.
Okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
No, and that's classic. Actually, we were just in Minocqua just this past weekend, and somebody in the boat across from us was basically trying to debate whether or not it's a whiskey, old fashioned, or I mean they had preferred it that way. So it's it's a debate.
I think outside of California, we're like the number 2 consumer of Korbel brandy.
Oh, for sure, that blackberry, black cat brandy.
Easily.
We drink a lot of that.
Now, do you prefer it sour or sweet?
Sweet.
Yeah. Sweeter. And then I guess one more. If you've ever been to a supper club, and which one would you recommend going to?
Oh my God, I have been to some supper clubs. God, I'm trying to think of what. The strangest one is Toby's over. It's like I think it's between Madison and it's off Cottage Grove Road over there.
Yeah.
It's an interesting place where you like place your order before you actually sit down, and then like they have a table and your food gets. It's the most backwards restaurant. It's hilarious. Do
they at least have the salad and cheese bar or whatever it is?
I'm in a pre-COVID guy. It was like I think they have that. They have a salad bar. You get the whole thing like dinner rolls, this and that, and the whole thing shows up. Yeah, it's amazing, and the drinks are priced right.
Now, what about real quick? about your tailgating experience, and have you been to Brewers games, Badgers, Packers? I mean Bucks. Have you been to any of those?
Yeah, so I went to UW, so obviously we knew how to pre-party for a football game properly. But yeah, I think the last time we went to a Packer game, but it was like December, but we still, in true Wisconsin fashion, get out, put your snow pants on and stand around the car, even though it's, -10.
Yeah, I remember I went to the playoff game against the 49ers, Colin Kaepernick and that in Lambeau, and it was like -10 at the game start. I was in jeans and like a Columbia jacket. It was the worst decision of my life.
You didn't go shirtless?
I did not go shirt. I might as well have.
The saying is 30s, no shirties. You're good to go.
Yeah, baby.
There you go, right?
Yeah, this is short weather right now.
But, Phil, we really appreciate your time today, and we hope to make it up there soon and come visit with you and drop off some koozies.
Excellent. I appreciate it, guys.
Cool. Phil, thanks for your time.
Yeah, take care.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, we now have another beer review segment.
Yeah, today's beer comes from us from Enlightened Brewing Company. It is the Cream City Bricks beer. And I know, Sturge, your house currently has Cream City Bricks on it currently, right?
Yeah, so our house features a brick, or a chimney rather, that's made out of Cream City brick that is exposed all the way up from our basement up through into our bathroom, and that's where it becomes exposed, is right into our bathroom. And it's, like I said, all Cream City brick.
So I don't want to go into it too deep. Obviously, we'll probably have an episode on it specifically, why Cream City. I mean, if many of you don't know, our base rock or our bedrock is actually limestone, which is where the Cream City name comes from. It's the color of the stone. It gives it a cream color. You'll see a lot of buildings around Wisconsin with that cream color.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So this beer specifically is a cream ale. It's like a style that is produced before Prohibition. It's light-bodied and has a very malty up front and a little bit of hops involved. You get that taste of the Williamette hops for balance. It has a 5% ABV, and it's just a good beer. It's kind of like one of those ones you can drink all day. It's not very high percent, 5%. You could survive that, Especially someone like me. This is like nothing to me. I have a tolerance of a grizzly bear. I don't know about you, but
yeah, no, for sure. And it's one of those ones that's it reminds me of some of like the Coors Banquet beer.
Yeah.
So it's not light. It certainly wouldn't be my choice to drink all day.
Yeah.
But if you're grabbing just anywhere from like maybe 3 to 6 beers to take over to a buddy's house, I mean, you're hanging out outside, just kicking back. It definitely is a great beer. Once again, it feels like an all-time classic, and this is my first time trying it.
Yeah, you're getting that upfront malt, like that almost farm field taste, like you're getting that like fieldy, malty beverage right up front. You obviously get the hint of the hops, but you're really getting that farm frontage, which I like personally.
Yeah.
I like the malt. I like a little bit of hops too, but like this one is really malt forward, and I recommend it to anyone kind of looking for like a day sipper or something to just drink outside in the hot sun. So
that's what it is too. It's just
right.
a day sipper. Like I said, you could definitely just throw this thing in the can koozie, go out on the lawnmower, get the 2-hour mow job done, and be on your way.
So everyone, again, this is the Cream City Bricks Cream Ale, and they are located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Check them out on social media. Grab one of these bad boys from your local liquor store, and they're available all year round. So sip that sucker.
Enlightened Brewing, another new friend. Right. And we have our brand new segment, This Day in Wisco History. We actually have a really cool story to start this thing off. I'm not sure if you all know Holy Hill, the Holy Hill Church. This became the Holy Hill Church and was dedicated and opened officially July 19th, 1931. The consecration 3-hour ceremony was done by Samuel A. Stritch, Archbishop Samuel A. Stritch. You might notice the name Stritch because of Cardinal Stritch University. This is the same guy. So the holy hill that we all know and we've all visited is born into existence on this day. This is a brand new church, and one of Milwaukee's legendary individuals who has that university here is the one who holds and who is the head of this ceremony to open this thing.
Yeah, I recommend checking it out. Actually, you can go up in the bell tower sometimes when it's open, and you can see for miles. Like, you're up there, as long as it's not a cloudy day, you can see for miles. It's a beautiful church. I recommend everyone going and checking that place out.
Yeah, this is phenomenal. I'm really glad that we opened this new segment and we're able to learn such a really cool piece of history that allows us to study and look more into such a beautiful place in Wisconsin. All right, that concludes this episode of Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast.
If you enjoyed this vulgar display of Wisconsin, we recommend you subscribe via SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn.
Also, leave us a review on any one of those above-mentioned sites, and we can read one at the end of every show. Follow us on social media, and feel free to reach out, especially if there is a piece of history or weird news you'd love us to share or research, as well as highlight some local artists or music. Our website is projectcapestudio.com.
I'd also like to thank my friend and past coworker, Steph Skiback, for providing us with awesome podcast cover art, as well as the Dangits for intro and outro music, and all of you for listening. As always,
Watch out for deer on the way home.